I forgot to add enough fuel to my car last race, and as I rolled to a stop, I thought about how much farther I could go if I had just one more liter of fuel. Today we're going to answer that question, with 3 attempts to go as far as possible on an empty tank of gas. First try is our control route, my favorite. We drive as fast as possible, we rev out the engine, and we're going to see exactly where the car cuts out. I was actually really surprised with this one. With it being a thirsty V10 engine and having only 1 liter of fuel, I kind of figured the car would run out of steam after 2 or maybe 3 corners, but apparently adding just 1 liter can make a pretty significant difference. We ultimately make it down around turn 5 and go to the infield part of Sonoma, but as we come up to the carousel, I could hear the car sputtering and eventually run out of gas. Now, as soon as I heard the engine cut off, that was where I started to just jump on the brakes, get the car stopped as soon as I could, and that way we could record the distance to ultimately get 4,300 feet. But that's only one way of doing it, so let's jump right into the next, lifting and coasting. Next, we want to try the strategy of lifting off the throttle early and coasting before braking. This should save us some gas, and a lot of race drivers end up using this strategy when they're short on fuel. As we can see, it's doing a little better. Now, what I didn't mention is that it's actually rather hard to do this and keep the car at a really good pace. But when you're lifting and coasting, you're obviously sacrificing some of that straight line speed to save a bit of fuel. So the best place to do it, you usually lift off right before you get to the corner, so that way you can still use the momentum that you've built up and coast before you get into the braking zone. However, I would ultimately find out that this wouldn't get me a whole lot further. We will make it through the carousel, but this is about the point where I started to hear the car sputtering again. So once the car ran out of fuel, I jumped up on the brakes and looked at the ticker to see where I was at, and we found out it was going to be 5,200 feet. Now, 1,000 feet more or less is a pretty stout gain, but I've still got one more trick up my sleeve. Finally, we'll take a nice Sunday drive around Sonoma, shifting early, going as slow as possible, and it sure won't be exciting, but can it get us any farther? Absolutely, just ignoring the fact it took us twice as long to get there. The car cuts out, and I look down to see that we've made it to 6,200 feet. We can clearly see how much impact fuel saving gets you, but the real question is still out there. What's the best trade-off of fuel efficiency and speed? Make sure to like and follow to see more challenges like these.